I am your host Salim bin Muhammad Rafi, and here is my YouTube channel. I just want to let my all the followers, my friends, people in the media, in the government, in the United Nations, in the World Health Organization, Human Rights Watch, International Criminal Court, and International Court of Justice. In other words, I am really talking and hoping, with the help of our Creator, the God Almighty, that we will be able, that the world will be able, that everybody, irrespective of his caste, color, religion, and geographical location, will put in every effort to defeat and get rid of this adamant, a person who is the cruelest on this earth in history will know that there was no other terrorist government would use nukes on two large Japanese cities when they had surrendered, both Nagasaki and Hiroshima, who killed millions of natives and raped their women and produced illegitimate black and white children, who used them, chained them, and the tobacco fields, in the cotton fields, who bulldozed their graves and their sacred places and occupied most of their land until they are living in Indian reserves. Both this United States of America is at the top as the cruelest nation, as the war criminal, and committed genocide after genocide in Iraq, in Iran, in Libya, in Syria, in Afghanistan, in Vietnam, and the list goes on and on and on. Now they created an illegitimate child with this. They deceived the whole world by creating the League of Nations, converted into United Nations. And when Harry Truman was just shaving and got a one phone call from an illegitimate 5,000 Jews from Palestine, and he said, "Don't worry, I have recognized you and you are now a full member of the United Nations." Compare that with those bloody 48 veto powers which this terrorist has used, and unless you get rid of him, there will be no world peace. There was no need for him to go to the borders of the Russia and go to the Ukraine, and there was a part of Russia, and it's been living peacefully. Now millions of the Ukrainians are refugees, and the war is a priority. They are going to lose it. Now it's the same thing which is going to happen to Taiwan. It's their internal dispute. Both are Chinese. Whether they do it as friends or they fight each other and kill each other, you stay away. But he won't. He won't. He is just such a dirty, filthy, inhuman animal that he will obviously get Australia and Japan involved and go and lit fire in that part of South Seas as well. He done that in the whole of Middle East. He's done that in Africa. He's done that repeatedly in Pakistan. And even the recent regime change, ever since that, may God burn this Antony Blinken, all the Jews with him in the White House, and burn him, this Joe Biden, who says you don't have to be a Jew to be a Zionist, so that there is a peace in the world, so that the kids can breathe well, so that the mothers with their small children and newborn can sleep well at night. I don't think that any American will let this continue. Why on earth is California and Texas separate and let this man commit suicide? That's what he is doing to the herd of sheep. You are paying all the taxes to you are just feeding an animal and a monster called Zionist State of Israel. Please stop it. You need it for yourself. You need it for your Medicare. You need it to stop the food stamps. You give the food meals at the school, the breakfast at schools. Nobody should have to have a loan to study and do higher education and this is all over in the United States. Your roads are broken, your bridges are outdated, your railway line is in. Why on earth don't you do this thing? Why waste and why let your money go there? So this is the reason now this floating pier to carry this American boots to have them killed again in Gaza and provide them dumb bombs and other ammunitions, so keep killing in Gaza and Rafah. Now that should be, I think, blasted off by either Houthis to go underground and then blast it off, so that there is, and the Cyprus should be ashamed. So should be the United States of America, then does not stop cheating.
Across Gaza in the last 24 hours as Israel continues to bomb Rafah after its forces on Sunday night bombed yet another tent camp in the southern city that was housing displaced Palestinians in an area that had been declared a safe zone. Officials say many of the bodies were charred after the Israeli attack caused a fire that tore through the camp. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu Monday called the Rafah strikes a tragic mistake and vowed to investigate amidst global outrage. The attack came just 2 days after the International Court of Justice ordered Israel to immediately stop its assault on Rafah. Meanwhile, Palestinians continue to flee Rafah amidst ongoing Israeli attacks.
We don't know where...
The order of the ICJ, Israel is unlikely comply with the order and responded with more attacks in their area and expanding its military operation in Rafah city. And 2 days ago, it happened when they launched at least 2 rockets on a displacement camp that is quite close to the UNRWA logistic log, which is a base refers to UNRWA, and people gathered around this space, considering it, you know, as a green area, a safe area. And after the bombing, the area is basically full of tents for displaced people, and the fire set on because of, you know, the tents are basically made of nylon fabrics and woods, and this severely affected in having more fire, and which caused the death toll raised until 45, and almost plus 200 got injured. And yesterday, the past night, since the midnight till the 6 a.m., the Israeli army shelled and attacked the Rafah city once again heavily, and the sounds of the explosion in Rafah were totally heard and clearly in the middle area of the Gaza Strip. And they expanded the operations more in the area, which caused in 3 hospitals to be out of the service: the Indonesian Fair Hospital, and the Emirati Hospital, and also Kuwaiti hospitals. So because of the attack in the past night, 3 hospitals went out of service, and also lots of people are being now in the streets, unable to recognize where to go, especially because of the fuel crisis. This fuel crisis happened because of the closure of the borders, because of the Rafah invasion. So we really have you know, a crisis in transportations. The fees of the transportations is quite high that people are unable to afford it. So some of the people decided to stay and not to leave because they are unable to afford the transportations to move for other areas, and while others decided to just walk in the streets to reach somewhere else, but not Rafah. And while others, they managed to leave the area. And basically the situation is totally catastrophic because of the last night, almost 5 so far got killed and lots of injuries, according to the Ministry of Health in Gaza. And people are in a total despair, despite these dire conditions, they are unable to know where shall they go, especially Rafah, the so-called safe area, is not safe area anymore, and tents are a threat.
Arya Nair, he's a giant in the world of human rights and a survivor of genocide himself. He was born a Jew in Nazi Germany. You, I think, only one time accused a country of genocide.
Yes.
Saddam Hussein's attempt to eliminate the Kurds.
The Kurds.
You have concluded that Israel is guilty of attempting genocide.
Yes.
That's a very heavy charge.
Yes. 2,000-pound bombs, which are utterly inappropriate in a crowded urban area. A bomb like that can kill somebody 2 football fields away.
Human Rights Watch co-founder and Holocaust survivor Aryeh Neher was on CNN over the weekend speaking to Fareed Zakaria to share his opinion about why he feels that Israel is currently carrying out a genocide in the Gaza Strip. Now, he made his case while speaking to Fareed Zakaria, and he pointed to specific reasons why he feels this way. Now, I want to be clear that he actually did not initially agree with South Africa's allegation that Israel is carrying out a genocide, but he ended up changing his mind, and he's about to explain why in this next clip.
What changed my mind was that over a period of time, Israel has obstructed the delivery of humanitarian assistance to Gaza. And those who have been most severely victimized are not the members of Hamas. Men with guns ordinarily find a way to get food and to get fed. But it is young children who are most severely damaged by malnutrition and who will either starve to death, or if they survive, they will be diminished for the rest of their lives, diminished physically and psychologically by the severe malnutrition they are enduring as children. And I thought that severe obstruction of the delivery of humanitarian assistance amounted to genocide.
And it's not just the fact that the Israeli government is not allowing for an adequate amount of humanitarian aid to enter the Gaza Strip. That includes food, water, fuel, medical supplies. Think about all the children who have been severely wounded from Israel's aerial bombardment, who have to have amputations and other treatments without any anesthetics, okay? But he also points to what the IDF is targeting in the Gaza Strip on top of blocking humanitarian aid. One more clip and we'll go to you, Cenk.
The USAID Administrator, Samantha Power, testified before Congress that famine had set in Gaza. The head of the UN World Food Program has said that full-blown famine is underway in Gaza. Destroying the farms, destroying the greenhouses in Gaza, killing a large number of aid workers who were involved in the distribution of food, challenging the ability of the UN agency that has been principally involved in distributing food to continue that activity, and persuading the United States and other governments to cut off funds from that agency. All those things have had a cumulative impact on the availability of food and water and electricity and medical supplies in Gaza.
You know, when you're dealing with so much gaslighting in the American press about what's happening in Gaza, it feels so refreshing to hear someone plainly, bluntly state the facts of what's happening in the Gaza Strip.
यूनिवर्सल टेलीविजन को सब्सक्राइब करना ना भूलें, उसके बाद बेल बटन पे क्लिक करें और अपने कमेंट्स के सेक्शन में अपने कीमती जो ख्यालात का इजहार जरूर